Good day, everybody, and welcome to TVC 22's Cats About Town. Here we are in Clarence, Rockland, on a beautiful sunny day in a hardware store. Full disclosure here, I have to tell you that hardware stores are one of my most favorite places to be. I can get my imagination running free. I can imagine all kinds of things that I can do, just walk through the aisles and go home with all of these wonderful materials and then do nothing. I let them sit. But that doesn't mean that I don't get all kinds of good ideas every time I come in here. And one of those people who's always been remarkably helpful, and you're going to find out why in a few minutes, is Barb Headley, who has been with the Home Hardware for about a dozen years. Not always this one, not always the one in Rockland, but this is a woman with imagination, and some of that imagination has earned her a few awards. So thank you, Barb, for taking the time to talk to us.
My pleasure.
I know we're out of your comfort zone a little bit here, but very quickly you're going to be talking about things that you know a lot about, and you'll be just fine, I promise you. We're standing here right now in what is one of the few non-seasonal parts of the hardware store, and it's Barb's brainchild, the farm place.
Farm place, yeah. It's been nicknamed the feed room now.
The feed room, okay.
Yeah.
So you came up with this idea because?
Well, when I was in Sarsfield at the building center in Sarsfield, the Home Hardware there, building center, I ran the feed department and the stable and tack supplies. It grew very, very fast, and unfortunately when they closed, there was no more available to people. So when I came back here, it was Joe, at Joe's suggestion. He said, how would you like to bring in, you know, some feed and stuff like that again? Would you like to do it again? I said, I don't know. So I said, okay. So we started small. I started with mostly what I need. I have horses, so with what I use a lot of and need a lot of, medicinal supplies, etc., they're halters and lead ropes, things that, you know, one day they're there, next day they're broke, you need it real quick.
Yep.
Horse gets injured, it's all right here. They're welcome to come down and see what we have. It's there for them, you know, in emergencies and that. And it just grew from there. And then the next thing I knew, I was into the feed. And I started with a little bit of horse feed. Next thing I know, poultry, and that blew up big time. So I'm doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good with that. With the that's my horse section. That's the poultry, other types of livestock, goats, sheep. It's just gone crazy, and I love it.
Well, that's kind of interesting because I think that there are more and more city dwellers who are wanting to get into having chickens in their backyard.
Backyard chickens, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
big time. Big time, yeah.
more than I realized then from here.
Even in town, I think they're allowed a couple, maybe up to 3 or 4 chickens. No roosters, though. So the scratch feed, the lay mash, you know, they have their own eggs and stuff like that. It has really grown.
So there are people in town who are laying their, well, who have chickens laying their own eggs,
Yeah,
laying their own.
yeah, yeah.
So anything you want, you can come here and get, plus advice. I guess you've
yeah,
been
it
doing
is
this for
quite-
some time.
Yeah, quite a few years.
You have your horses, you have your chickens. You see, these are all things that, as a city person myself, even though I've been in the country for 12 years, I find it incredibly daunting. It's overwhelming. It's the most natural thing in the world to have these animals and to let them live their lives and feed. But to somebody like me, the idea, I wouldn't even know where to start if I wanted to have chickens in my backyard. And yet, for you, it's something you've done all your life.
Chickens, well, I learned that maybe within the last 10 to 12 years.
Okay.
When I went to have my own little barn in Clarence Creek. Along with that came rabbits and chickens, which I knew nothing about really at the time, but I learned very quick.
All right.
And they're adorable. They're absolutely adorable, and they end up more like pets, you know. They were awesome. They were fun, and you learn what to feed them and what they need and their requirements and stuff like that. Keep them healthy, and you know.
And so a few basic things about health, speaking of, if they're not feeling well, then chances are you've seen it and you can get some advice. I don't know how many vets in town might deal with chickens and bunnies.
You would go to the large animal usually. If it's bunnies and stuff like that, you probably go to small animals. But the larger veterinary clinics would be outside of town, like in Russell and Ambrom and Castleman and things like that, you know, for the large
Oh,
animals.
okay.
So they have all small animals, maybe like in Rockland, there's about 3 vets, I think. And then for the larger animals, you would go, there's an equine in Russell, there's one in Navan. I'm not too sure, I don't remember about Castleman, because sometimes some of them merge together and they become, you know, they all work together now.
Right.
So mine, she's in, not Embrum, she's in Russell.
And bunnies and chickens would be the same?
They could probably do something with the chickens more so than the small animal, because it would be considered a farm animal.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you?
So, or me? No, not me. I can only help to recommend what they could be doing for them, like to make sure they have clean bedding all the time and shavings, and it's dry, so there's no infections being spread and that.
Okay.
The proper feed, depending on what kind of chickens you have. If you have like a meat chicken, well, then you've got grower feed. If it's a hen for laying eggs, then you have your lay mash, you know, in a mash or a pelleted form. And then there's people that just like to feed them the scratch. They're not laying anymore, so they just feed them the scratch. And those are mostly the ones that are already outside and just pecking around you. Right. Sometimes you'll drive through a town and you'll see some chickens running around the yard. Yeah. Those are the ones that mostly get the scratch.
Oh,
until
all right.
they're starting to lay again, and usually they start around the spring, unless if they're laying over the winter, they usually have to have light 24 hours so that they can continue to produce eggs.
Yeah, it has always amazed me when I see chickens out in the yards and wondering, how can people do that? How can they?
Yeah.
But I guess the chickens know not to go on the road.
That's so much that. They stay close to home. So as long as they're where their food is and lots of fresh water, they're good.
Wide,
they're good. Yeah.
wide venture away. All right.
Yeah.
Now, how do you pick your supplier? You seem to have a...
My supplier is from Co-op,
Brook.
Embrum and Co-op.
Okay.
And they also supply the Brooks feeds and the Kentucky equine feeds. And the feeds, they basically, for when it comes to the horses, it's depending on what kind of horse you have, what you do with that horse, how much exercise that horse is getting. Like, you know, like for mine, for example, well, Bree, she's like a pleasure horse.
Yeah.
She gets ridden once in a while, so I make sure that she doesn't get too much sweets or high carbs or anything like that, too energetic. She doesn't need it. The most important thing is the vitamin mineral supplement, where they get their vitamin E and selenium and biotin and everything else they need to maintain healthy coats and healthy gut system and, you know, healthy hooves sort of thing. And they feel good. Others, when they get into the show season, come the spring through to the fall, then the horses, they begin to need higher in fats and starches and carbs and things like that. And then thus the feeds, they change per whatever exercise routine they're doing. Some are exercised an awful lot, and then they show on the weekends, and then they get a couple of days off, and then they start all over again. So they need more. So each feed has a different purpose.
And you know them all.
Well, I'm getting there.
You're
Brooks is new for me. I was with Purina for many years. I used to do the Purina.
Purina as in for the dog food?
Yeah.
Same company?
Yeah. They specialize in a lot of feeds, dairy and like all the farm animals and that. And they also specialize with the dog foods and cat and stuff like that. So that over the 3 or 4 years I was there, I got to know it very well. So Brooks being this one here, it's been a learning curve, and I'm very happy with it, and I'm having fun.
Well, that's the main thing.
Meeting a lot of new people, a lot of clientele out there. I had no idea, you know, because you get involved in your own little world there for a while, and then it's now I'm outside the box. Yeah. I'm learning all over again. So every day's a new adventure, kind of thing.
Oh, I can't imagine how exciting it would be, and overwhelming too, because you've got, well, probably you don't have the same variety, the same selection as you do for dog food and cat food, which has just taken off like crazy.
Yeah.
But still, these are bigger animals, there's more of an investment, so you have a lot more things that can go wrong.
Yeah.
A lot more things to balance.
When we have customers come in, we get their names and their phone numbers. We make sure every customer is registered for every type of feed, the dewormers, everything. If there's ever a recall, I just go and I look them up, I call them back if there's ever a problem. But I've been very lucky that we've never had a problem so far, which is really nice.
That's impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
That's impressive. So, although this is called the feed room, you don't only supply feed or nourishment, nutrition, you have a lot of other things, and I'm thinking in particular of the electric fence.
Yes.
You and I had a long, long talk about electric fences, and I got, about a third of the way there. But you made it sound so easy, but as soon as I got home,
It was a little bit more difficult.
yes, I have to say it was a lot
Yeah.
more difficult. So, but then again, for me, it's only a matter of dogs. The electric fences you have here are for horses, but at
And
the same
cattle.
time, and cattle.
And other small
But they are
animals, yeah.
adaptable.
They are, yeah. At home, well, where I was living in Bourget, we have electric fence for our dogs.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that worked for them, because when we were on the farm in Clarence, they learned to respect the electric fence. So if they would go running and they would run under that fence and their back touched it, wow, they learned pretty quick that, wow, you don't go that way. So they learned to stay away from it. So when we moved into Clarence with Bourget with 3 dogs, and they wouldn't stay within their own backyard, all of a sudden you've gone from 100 acres for them to run around to like, a quarter of an acre lot?
Yeah.
They thought they had the whole bush, eh? Well, not anymore. So the electric fence worked very well. Just put it up a little lower, but we had experience with that, so
Yes. Yes.
once you get to know it, it's nice, pretty easy.
I'm not giving up yet.
No, don't
I'm not
give
giving
up.
up yet.
We'll get you there.
You'll get me there.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a beagle, and now I have 2, and the one of them likes to chew through chicken wire, so that's out of it for
Wow.
me. Yes, yes, indeed. And
Yeah.
we've had some big dogs, and they've been jumping over the fence, and I've spent quite a lot of money on fencing, the 6-foot horse fence, and I know that the electric wire would be a lot cheaper and easier to install. And although a lot of people have reservations about how it could hurt their animals, you assure me, and you love your animals obviously, that it doesn't hurt them. It's just very
It
effective.
just gives them it's just like a little bit of an electric shock. Sometimes it can be. It depends on how powerful the source is.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that powerful. I mean, you just get a smaller box with, don't get a great big fence or anything like that. But I've touched them many a times, and it's just I won't touch it again.
Okay.
So I mean, I have had some fences, like when I was at one stable in Cumberland. Boy, when I touched that, I sat right on my butt. But these are to keep in stallions and things like that. But for the dogs and that, you don't need to. And usually just one strand along the bottom of the fence. They'll get a little bit too close to it. Some of it's no worse than those collars that the dogs wear. When you've got your hidden fence underneath the ground, and the dog wears a collar, and it has a little shocker on it. When he gets too close to it, he gets a little shock. That's and it's the shock would be minimal until they get too close, and then it gets a little stronger.
Right.
The only difference really with the electric fence is it's already 1 voltage.
Right.
So when they touch it, zap, and it's just a little. I mean, they're not
It's a little
putting
zap.
their nose on it and they're going to hold it there or anything like that. It's just,
No.
they'll feel it, and then they learn to respect it and they stay away from it. Half the time we don't even have our electric fence on anymore.
They just know.
know.
They remember that
They
it's
remember,
there.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really good to know. So I hope people learned something from that, because I certainly did.
Yeah.
So what else? What other wonderful things do you have in here that can be adaptable to small animals, I guess? Buckets, harnesses.
Yeah.
Well, no, the harnesses are
I
all
can
pretty
pretty
typical.
well. I have a few suppliers. I have Kane's Veterinary Supplies. I have Jerian and Western Rawhide and Cavalier, and within the Kane's Veterinary Supplies, there's I can pretty well get anything for dogs and cats and small animals and that. Home Hardware too. They're now getting into for bees. If people have bees as a hobby, we have things for that. They have the chickens with the coops and everything like that. There's anything you want for dogs, from pails to buckets to leashes and everything. Like they're expanding quite a lot in that area too.
You
and
can.
the dairy and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that the only thing that people love more than their houses and all of the fancy appliances are their pets.
They're their pets, absolutely. And when they get into the
There's no home without it.
no, and when they start to talk about it, that's their babies.
Oh yeah.
That's their babies, and they love talking about them.
And that's why everybody who comes into Home Hardware knows Barb, because you're willing to talk about any of those things.
Yeah.
So you were in Sarsfield before you came here, and you've been here for about how many years?
I was in
Rockland?
Sarsfield when I first started.
Which sadly went bust.
Yeah, but I was there for 3 years, and then I came here. I was here for 5 years to the day. Then I went back to Sarsfield, and I was almost 3 years again when they closed. And yeah, that was a very sad day when they were telling us that we were closing down that night. And so I thought, okay, I said, I'll just give Joe a call and see how he would like to have me back. And no problem. He said, your schedule is already done, so here I am.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so, yeah, and I'm going on the second year back, so.
I don't know, there's something about Home Hardware, maybe because it's been around for such a long time, maybe because they're small, and everyone that I've been in, the staff have been so helpful and friendly, and I think that might be an environment of the hardware store too. Certainly in Rona I get the same thing. But
because Home Hardware's been here, it was Pro Hardware and all that before, like it's been here for many, many, many years.
Pro Hardware before?
It was Pro Hardware, I think,
Okay.
before, yes. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure, I'm thinking it was so long ago. I've been out here now 33 years, and I'm thinking that's what it was at the time. It's like going to the corner store and having a coffee with the owner. It's so personalized. Everybody knows everybody. And it's like one big family.
Yeah.
So when people come in, you know them. And now I'm finding there's a lot of new people coming to town. A lot of new faces. And they're so, when they come in and we greet them, they're so surprised. Because some of the stores, especially the bigger stores, like, you know, if you go into the city and that, it's not as personal. It's not, you know, like we offer to help them and show them around and that, and they like to talk too, and they enjoy it so much.
Well, certainly when you go into a large, one of the box stores like Walmart, they have some things, but it's so difficult to find somebody who's really knowledgeable. And they're understaffed. What can you say? Here you're certainly not understaffed. You can always find somebody.
And you know something? We learn something new every day. Even us, even the staff. And we learn a lot from our customers too. And every time a customer comes in and asks us for something, some of the things we're not sure about ourselves. And we all learn together. It's amazing. I've had people come in with, I had one, my favorite story. One customer, him and his wife came in, and he's carrying, I'm not kidding you, the hole underneath of a sink. Kitchen sink, a double sink. Okay, he's got all the piping and all that. And the wife, she disappears. Okay? And he says, I'm so embarrassed. He says, I need this. And I'm looking at this. Okay, come on with me. We go into the plumbing and we start getting all the parts and we're putting this. It reminded me of that game Mousetrap. Did you ever play Mousetrap when you were a kid? And oh my God, you have to look that one up. Or you put it all together. It's all the plumbing and the little ball rolls and.
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
Right.
I've seen it.
So it kind of reminded me of that. So all of a sudden I'm hearing this giggling, and I'm going, what's going on here? You know? And then I look over and there's the wife. She's so embarrassed by this because he was coming in with all the kitchen sink except the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
And so she hid over in the corner to see what we were doing. She was having a blast. They turned out to be really good friends.
Oh, amazing.
I met him in McDonald's there.
You're a handy friend to have, Barb. I have to say.
I said, do you remember? He says, oh yeah. He says, I remember. And that was about 10 years ago. Yeah. So we have some good times here. Some funny moments, yeah.
Well, it's just such a creative place. You come in here and you have a project, and then somebody suggests something else and something else. I've met a few contractors
MacGyvering.
here.
I call it MacGyvering.
MacGyvering.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun.
It is.
We were talking earlier about with the kids, about the kids. Sorry, kids. Sorry, the camera guys from the school. That they're the co-op kids. They're not looking forward to going back to school because there's no challenge. We need challenges. We need to be creative in our minds and our lives.
Yeah.
And there simply isn't a lot of that in this very convenient world. It's all put together for us and structured.
We get a lot of folks in here that are creating something. I don't know if you can help me. I said, well, let's see. And oh well, they go out of here and they've got more ideas and something to put together, and they're really happy.
Yeah.
We have fun.
You make it sound easy too. That's the other thing.
It comes with getting to know what's going on around you with the store, and all the you know, and I've been with the home hardware store now for so long, it seems like that, and I never expected electrical and plumbing to be where I was put. And that's where I was put when I first came in to home hardware. And I thought, yeah, really? Took one seminar on electrical, one seminar on plumbing, and then it just balled from there. Like, you know, it just grew. And I'm no electrician, and I'll tell them, but I can help point them in the right direction. And same with the plumbing. I'm better at plumbing than I am electrical.
Yeah, electrical
and
is...
even better here with the feed stuff, with the animals.
All right, I'll do what you want, but now you have to do what I want. What was I going to say? The contractors that come in here as well, there always seems to be somebody that you can refer people to.
Yes.
And of course, after a few tries, that's often the fallback position is, all right, I'll let the pros do it.
Yeah. Well, I'll even say that sometimes. Maybe we better think about getting an electrician, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Certainly for those codes, you need them.
Yeah.
Now, when the Rona opened, the big Rona in Rockland, and of course there's the Bytown Lumber right next door, which is a somewhat different category, but there's some overlap. Was there some anxiety that you weren't going to be able to deal with the competition?
No, not at all.
Certainly hasn't been a problem, has it?
No, not at all. No, it didn't. I think maybe when Walmart at the time we thought maybe, but actually no, it didn't affect us in any way, like that I noticed anyways, not for what I do. And when it comes to the paint and things like that, we have the expertise here for that, and people enjoy that and they keep coming back. So, you know, it's, I never really saw much of a difference.
Well, it is encouraging because I know that the first few times I came in here, it seemed like most of the staff were older people. And the store looks old in a way. There's nothing fancy about it. It's just very practical.
It's a hardware store, the way it's supposed to be.
Yes, so there.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, I've never seen I had not seen before here a hardware store with so many beautiful indoor decorations, interior decorations.
Yeah, she has a nice section over there, design.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and people love it. The customers love it. It's amazing. They come in, the husband, can I help you? Well, I'm looking for my wife. Did you check the side section?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So a lot of new people are coming, young people are coming into this now, I've noticed over the years. You've got a few young staff, and certainly you have an owner who's a young whippersnapper himself.
Yes.
A new owner.
Joe, yeah.
Joe, we're going to be talking to Joe later on, and we're going to find out how a young man comes into this kind of a world, which, I don't know, I guess it's something that's never going to run out of fashion, for one thing, and there's always going to be something bigger and better for everybody who's wanting to repair something. Our house is 30 years old, and there's all kinds of things to repair, and I have to say, I always try to do it myself first. And then I end up calling a contractor second.
Do-it-yourself projects.
Well,
we have a lot of that.
One way or another, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the customers know that they can come in and get some help too if they need it. I had 2 on the weekend with installing kitchen taps.
Oh.
And one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and they wanted information. It just, it's like you say with the electric fence. You get it home, you try to set it up, and oh wow, a little bit overwhelming. Well, the customers too found that. They got home, they tried to hook up these taps, and something just wasn't clicking.
Yeah.
So they come in on the weekend, and we go over it, and we helped them. They went home happy. They never came back, so it must have worked.
It must have worked.
It must have worked, so we do the best we can.
Oh, and
we're always here for them.
Yeah, you are. And in both languages, although you don't do both languages.
I do the best that I can.
You try.
I got words here and there. They come in, they tell me what they want, and I pick up on a lot of it, I know people are always teasing me about that, but, I say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I said, I
Why
can
would
try,
you want to?
but,
Why would you want to?
Yeah, it's sometimes I think most of it's probably because you're afraid to, in case you say the wrong thing.
Oh, there's that.
You know,
for sure.
I think I'm more that way, so I understand a lot more than people think.
Yes.
But I just won't answer them back in case I say the wrong thing.
Well, there's also the fact that you're a very personable, eloquent person in English, and I guess you feel how you're slowed down when you're trying to do it and speak in French, and that's frustrating.
It is.
Yes.
You're trying to speak French, and yet you're thinking in English and trying to come up with the French part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're going back to your school system and thinking, why didn't you? Why didn't you? Why didn't you? Why didn't you learn these things? Why didn't you teach
Well, I
me
pride
these things?
myself on the fact that if I did one thing right in life, both my children are fluently bilingual. And
Good.
because I did come across that when I was probably in my late 20s, and the children, where they were really starting to make a thing about being bilingual. And I said to myself, my children aren't going to go through what I've had to go through in this case. And they went right into French school, grade
Good
1,
for you.
boom.
Good
Totally
for you.
English, and now they're 33 and 38, and they're doing fantastic with that. So
Good
I'm
for you.
proud of that.
Well, I do believe that if more people had that attitude of not only recognizing how important it is, but also not going at it negatively, because French is such a beautiful language and the French
Oh, it
culture is
is.
such a beautiful culture.
Yeah.
And to deprive children of it these days in the world that we live in is
They need
short-sighted.
it today.
Yeah.
They definitely need it today. It's good to,
Yeah.
even the third language too now with the Spanish and stuff like that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So English, French, Spanish, hardwareese, horse, dog. These are all languages, really, aren't they?
Yeah,
Electrical, plumbing. They are. They're a way of putting things together and visualizing it. And you're not an old dog, Barb. I'm sorry. I expect if we did
It's just an expression.
yeah, no. We do an interview like this again in 5 years, and I'm sure you're going to have, I don't know, an addition built on here, and it's going to be a challenge for everybody to come in.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I hope by then I'm retired, though.
Yeah, doing what?
Yeah.
Contracting?
Nope, just laying back
Looking-
and relaxing and enjoying my horses
Looking after your horses.
and
Yeah.
traveling.
There is
Yeah.
definitely a beautiful life around that.
Yeah.
So, my dear, thank you very much. It's been
thank
fun
you.
taking up all your time
Thank
and
you.
learning all these things. And I managed to learn things, so it's not like she's always repeating herself. So please stay tuned and come back after this break. We're going to be talking to Joe, who is the new owner of the Home Hardware. And I think you're going to be surprised when you meet this young man. Not exactly your typical impression of a hardware store guy. But you'll see. See you soon, in a few minutes. So welcome back to TVC 22 Cats About Town. We are here still in the Home Hardware, but Barb has changed a little bit right now, as you can see.
Yeah,
And
she's got
she's
a little,
become
a little younger. No,
a
no.
little younger. This is Joe. This is Joe Lafrenière, who is co-owner. I stand corrected. I was calling him the
Yep,
owner,
yep.
but for now he's still the co-owner with Jean Lamoureux. For those of you who know Jean, don't worry, he's still around. Joe, impressive, impressive. You grew up in this business, and this is a beautiful evolution. So tell us, I can't believe you've been in this business since you were 15?
Yeah, actually, that's what we were just talking about. So I've been here actually since I was 15. So I've been here 18 years now.
You know stuff pretty well in here.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of experience. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, the transition between the ownership and being the employee, I mean, it was fairly, easier that way, right? Since I already know the business, I know people in the industry also.
So I can't say that I grew up in hardware stores, but I spent an awful lot of time in them with my father because he loved to build things, and I used to go along with him. And the place we used to go mostly was Pascal's in Ottawa. Pascal's, as I remember, was big, and I wasn't that young, so it's not because of size. But here you have a much smaller store, and yet I never come in here without finding exactly what I'm looking for. How do you manage that?
So basically, that's what it is. So basically, we got to use every square foot that we have in the store wisely. So, and between Home Hardware, like we have about 60,000 products that we have access to.
60,000.
Yeah, 60,000 products. So basically, I can't keep everything here in the store. We have about 25,000 here at our location. That's why we offer the ordering service, right? Because there's so many things also that I could have. But again, we're 10,000 square feet. And yeah, I think we use the space pretty well. And
Yeah.
again, it's about using every little square inch, square footage that you can properly, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess in 15 years, well, 15, 18 years, 13 years that you've been doing this, if I got my calculations right.
18.
18 years.
18.
I was never very good in math. You see what it is that people need, and you bring in a few new things, but probably it's mostly the tried and true, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all, I mean, with experience, I see what's going out, what I'm selling. And of course, yeah, when there's new products, I love to try new things. I mean, I'm not afraid to try new things. You bring it in, right? If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, go to the next. An example is actually the farming department. For me, this was all brand newish, right?
Yes.
But and Barb actually worked for me earlier, previously, and then
okay.
she left. She was in Sarsfield Home Hardware. When she came back, I said I knew she was strong on the farming department. That's her bread and butter, and I wasn't doing it. So I said, well, you know what, Barb, let's start this. Right, so I had the right employee to do it. So this is another reason why we started this. So this is another little addition we tried this year, and you know what? It's working perfectly.
And how did you get the word out? Because it's not exactly the first place people would go to look for farm feed
Well,
and farm equipment.
so initially it's word of mouth, right?
Okay.
Barb knows a lot of her customers. We use through Facebook the word of mouth. And just people coming in and saying, hey, Barb, and, you know, just coming in the store, and then she would bring them here, talk to them about the department. So basically, like, and I see it, it's growing every month. It's growing and growing and growing.
Really?
And I mean, I love it, and Barb loves it, and like this is her passion. So
Yeah.
I'm happy for her, and it's good for us, you know, and it's something else that we can offer, right? And it's bringing in the
Okay.
customers in the store, and then you guys get to see everything else that we sell here.
Okay, so you're already giving us an idea of what kind of a boss you are, because you are able to identify the person who's going to do the job right, and you also
Yeah.
take great pleasure in their success. This is always a good thing for a boss.
Yeah. So, oh, sorry. So
Yeah.
basically, that's what it is. So you
Yeah.
basically, like with Barb, this was her strength. So right. So we're like, well, let's put her in this department. Let's try it out. Let's start it off. And I have to give her credit. To be honest, this is all her. This is all Barb. I gave her the complete green light. Go ahead, and well,
She did it.
Yeah.
She did it.
Yeah.
So, who guided you in how to take over a business, how to save up enough money so that you could invest in a store like this, which
Well,
could have been a bit nerve-wracking?
yeah, but I've been with Jean Amour, which is my partner now. Being here for 18 years, I mean, I've learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
Also, he's also helped me a lot, right, to get my foot in the business, right. And there's a reason I stayed here for so many years. This is what I wanted to do,
Okay.
right. And and me and him, we have a great relationship between the two of us.
Okay.
So yeah, he's one of my biggest help. I love to read also. I love to read business books, and just I'm self-taught. I love to be the self-taught. So basically, just to give you an example, I have a drive. I live in Canada, right? So and I'm originally from Rockland, but I love to listen to audiobooks, and I'm always listening to audiobooks on my drive. I get 45 minutes back and forth every day, so I get an hour and a half. So I listen to business audiobooks, and you know, you get a lot out of it, and that's, you know, it's self-taught.
Some people would say that that's a dangerous thing to do when you're driving because it'll put you to sleep. But I guess
Oh,
you
no.
really like it.
Yeah, no, it's something I'm passionate about, and I mean, I love learning. I need, like, that's what drives me. I need to learn new stuff. I need to try new things. I
Okay.
don't like just to stay put and just wait. I always need to go and try something new,
Good.
something new.
Good for you, good for us. Good for us.
Yeah.
It's, well, I can't even begin to imagine all the things that you need to know when you're running a store like this? Everything from dealing with suppliers, new computer systems, staff issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too many staff issues from what I can see. Got a good bunch here.
No, I got to give them credit. Like,
Yeah.
we have really, really great staff here. Like, our staff is amazing. And, you know, we have a system here, and my staff knows we're focused on the customer service. That's always our priority between anything. So usually when I hire someone, it's the personality is
Yeah.
usually the biggest trait that I'm looking for.
Okay.
Right. So and that's our motto. It's customer service, and then everything else becomes secondary
Right.
within the store.
Okay. Now, I am curious about something, and
Yeah, yeah.
I come in here from time to time, and I need a certain size of screw or bolt, and sometimes I bring in the one that I have, sometimes I don't bring in the one that I have, and I'll stand in front of the little boxes, and I'm looking at them, and I'm looking at them, and I get completely confused, and then someone comes and tries to help me. And then I realize how easy it would be to steal those things. How do you deal with that? There must be some problems in that department.
Yeah, actually comes back to my customer service. So this is the way we operate. We try to get to everybody that comes in the store. We offer our help. That way, people know like we're actually, we're
Around.
looking out. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
elementary.
that's our way of doing it, and it's
Yeah.
it's always been. So if you concentrate on your customer service and you're looking after your customers, it keeps the theft rate fairly low, right? So
course.
that's how we do it here.
That makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense, and it's a very pleasant way of doing it too.
Yeah, exactly. And like it's and another reason like we do it also is just like if you come in the store, and a lot of people like sometimes will actually not ask you for help, or if it's actually theft, they know you're being watched, so it won't happen. And then there you got some people that will actually sometimes they're too nervous to ask you or something.
Yeah.
And we like to do the little approach. You know,
Yeah.
just you need some help with any, just approach a customer, and usually, it helps create some sales sometimes, and you build relationship at the same time, right?
Yes.
So there's a lot of customers that come in here, like we know a lot of people, and that's something it's fun. That's actually, it's been doing me for years here. It's fun, like, because I know so many people, all our contractors that, that come in here, and you build relationships, you become friends with them also, so it makes the job that much more interesting,
Yeah.
So just...
It makes
the-
it hard
the
to get the
friendship
job done after all
well,
that
yeah,
chatting.
but
and-
it's part of it, right? And
It is.
and people like that, and I love it too. And we all love it here. So
Well, I've noticed, I don't know, you can find just about everything in here except maybe a coffee machine for the public, but that's probably coming.
we used to have one.
Oh, yeah?
We used to have one. It was a little pay machine. We just had
Oh,
trouble with it.
not the
but-
best coffee.
Yeah,
People
it
are
was
pretty spoiled with their
people,
coffee these days.
They came in with their Tim Hortons, so like
You have a beautiful home decor section there, which is not something that you usually see in hardware stores. That's doing well.
yeah, pretty
It's
good.
beautiful stuff.
Yeah, thank you. It's just for us, it's just something else. It's just an addition, and I mean, yeah, it's doing pretty well because it's all stuff. Most of that stuff is a lot of it doesn't actually come from Home Hardware. It's all like import stuff, and
Okay.
we get from different suppliers. But yeah, it's just something else that we offer, and then it attracts different people, and then a lot of women, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's a little. So when their husbands
men
are in
at
the back
Christmas
and they're
time.
like, I'm just looking for my wife, I'm like, she should be in the little
Yeah,
corner there. And
okay.
usually 90% of the time I'm right. So yeah, it's just a little addition.
All right.
We had the space for it. So
Well, that's the thing, that with a small store like this, relatively small store, every square foot counts, as you said, and obviously that must be doing well enough to justify using up that square footage.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They are very unique things, I have to say. I don't find them anywhere else. I've bought a number of things there. Not that I ever
good.
came in here planning to, but
You got the
you
big
can't help it.
Buddha.
You can't help it. So you have just about everything. You have electronic appliances, not iPads, but
No, yeah, Apple products you can't sell, but yeah.
but everything from humidifiers, dehumidifiers. How do you pick what you're going to sell? There are so many brands out there.
We actually, in our system, there's a rating. So when you're doing your orders, within our system, it tells you if it's a popular item, a so-so item, not so popular. So that's usually how we order them. So
Okay.
I have an idea of what's selling better. So there's 1,100 stores, home hardware through Canada.
Okay.
And they do a rating between all of those stores. So you know if an item you're selling, 1,000, a home hardware warehouse are selling 1,000 a year. And then another item, it's only selling 100 a year. So they rate it that way. So if a humidifier we're selling 1,000 and this one 100, well, they'll rate this one as a high seller, the other one as a low seller. So usually we'll keep the ones that.
Okay.
So your stock can roll a little faster that way.
Okay.
So that's the way usually that you.
So high selling, you deduct from that the ones that are returned because people are not satisfied with them?
No, high selling. I mean, just the ones that sell better off the shelf.
Okay, but
Item
if
stuff.
if people return them because they're not happy with them, that's not counted in there, right?
No, well, when we return them, it goes back in my inventory, but
Yeah.
We're not fussy about returns,
Yeah. No,
obviously.
the reason no, you're not.
No,
you
no.
take everything back. But the reason I ask is I remember I bought a dehumidifier at Home Depot, and I needed another dehumidifier, and I came in here and I thought, gee, I wonder if they would have the same quality as what Home Depot would have. I bought it, had no problems with it, but it was completely different. So that's why I was wondering, how do you gauge in the industry and the whole range of everything that's available? There's so much competition.
Yeah, basically.
Does Home Hardware have some assessors that tell you what is really good and what is less good?
Well, again, it just comes back to my system
Just
with
to
the
what
rating.
sells.
That's basically
Okay.
what I'm using. Another indicator is usually your flyers. Stuff that they put in their flyers, usually they're good sellers also. So you can go and
Right.
get stuff when it's coming in the flyer. It indicates to you that it's a good seller. There's a reason they put it in there.
Okay.
But no, usually, I mean, Home Depots and the Lowe's of this world, they're the big box store. I mean, I don't try to compete against them.
No.
And again, between having like 60,000 products, usually we can pretty much find anything
Yeah.
that they also sell. And we
Yeah,
can
and then
get.
you can, if you don't have it, you order it. I guess.
Exactly.
Actually, a funny story is that I found a toilet seat, a nice wooden toilet seat
Okay.
at Home Depot many years ago. And because it's wood, it wears down and it looks like it's not
Exactly.
well kept. But I like it because it's warm. And so I was waiting and waiting for an opportunity to get to Home Depot, which is not easily accessible from Rockland. And finally, I dragged my husband there and we got one. And then a few days later, I'm in here and you've got it.
Yeah, I got some. I got some in the back. You'd be surprised what we have. Again, like I said,
I am always
we can't
surprised
carry
at what you've
everything,
got.
right? But basically, for customers also, if ever, like everything that we see in our system here is on our website. So anything you see on our website, we can get.
Okay.
So I always tell customers, I mean, because they've changed their approach now. We don't have an actual catalog like we always used to with everything in it. So it's the world's transitioning through the web, right?
Right.
So everything's on the web now. So anything you guys see, like on the website, we can get it here in store also. You know,
Okay.
so it gives you an idea of all those 65,000 products. Well, they're all there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a great way to shop. It's
Yeah,
it's,
and
it's Sears Plus.
exactly.
Remember the days
it's
of the
getting
Sears
more and more
catalog?
popular, right? Yeah.
Oh, I'm really impressed, and I'm so glad that the new stores that have come into Rockland, which are obviously looking at the growth potential, haven't hurt your business,
No.
because there is really something special about this little place
Thank you.
where everybody's always friendly, and I speak from experience.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, I am mindful of the fact that you have roots now in Canada because your wife is a teacher
Yeah.
in another part
She's a teacher in West Ottawa.
in West Ottawa, so you have to do a lot of commuting. So I suppose perhaps in the years to come you may set up another store somewhere else and
Well, for now,
expand and
it might be in the
Turn
works for
into
later
a-
on. Yeah.
a Donald Trump of hardware
Well, I won't be
stores.
Donald Trump. Don't worry about.
Well, not Donald Trump
No.
himself.
No. But yeah, maybe potentially down the road. I mean, but I do like this community. And again, like I said, there's so many
I
friendship
do too.
relationships. I mean, I really like it here. For now, it's not in any future plans.
Okay.
Just because of the setting here and just the employees also, like the people I work with. It's not like just employees. We're also there's relationship with all of them, and you know,
Yeah.
I try to keep it a little different
Yeah.
than having the big box store mentality. You know, so
Yes.
You know, I can have conversations about anything with my employees, right? It's you got to keep a little balance between the relationship and, you know, and the work factor. So
Yeah, that's tricky, and it's something that any store would envy, being able to have that kind of a personal relationship with their staff.
yeah, exactly.
I guess a place like Rona that has had their staff for so many years, it's easier for them. But a place like Home Depot, for instance, they obviously they can't.
Exactly,
It's
and
different.
you get more turnovers
And
also.
calling people associates isn't going to make that
yeah,
difference.
yeah. Or by numbers, no, but
No.
yeah.
Well, Joe, I am really impressed. I see that you've got all of these Christmas things out now, and it's probably all kinds of fun. And you're not you know, one of the things about the store that I find interesting, because these days there are more and more people I find with allergies to all kinds of things. And I go into Home Depot and I have trouble breathing. I come in here and I don't have trouble breathing. I don't have allergies. But people who have allergies, they go into these stores and they have all this dust and scents and whatnot. You must have either your place is very well built or you have a system that's very efficient at clearing it out.
Yeah, well, actually, we just did some renovations last year, so all the vents, everything were all cleaned out.
All brand
And
new?
we're talking just a year ago, because I mean, dust, there's nothing you can do. It's going to
Oh, God,
accumulate
no.
unnecessarily,
Yeah.
you know. But it's all about the house store, just maintaining the store, right, here and there. And yeah, it's just like I said, it's basically just our vents. Everything's brand new, so because basically your air's coming in and coming out. So if you're
Yeah.
just filtrating dust and dust and dust, usually that can be an indicator in
Yeah.
some stores.
No, the air quality is excellent in here.
Thank you.
And even with all of the little perfumey area that you have
Oh
over
yeah,
there,
yeah.
it doesn't spread throughout the store. Oh, no, it's amazing the things that you have to think about these days, because there are more and more people who have allergies to all kinds of things and sensitivities.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy we're not in the food industry, because it's getting big with the allergies.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yes, and you do have some food, because that's what happens, right? When people come into the store and then they're at the checkout, that's pretty sneaky, having all of those candies and treats
Yeah.
over there.
yeah. Well, we
You-
just keep like nuts and just the sealed stuff, sealed packages. I don't really
Yeah,
want to get
yeah,
into the
but
food.
that sells well, eh?
Yeah, it does.
Because
Yeah,
people
there's
go
a
to
reason
the
it's
counter
there.
and,
you know,
oh
if you're
God, I'm so
hungry.
tired.
That's right.
I'm going to need to get my energy up here so that I can do this project now.
Yeah.
Well, it works. I resist somewhat. You used to have a little fridge over there as well with drinks.
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there.
Still there
Okay.
at the front. Yeah.
Okay, so what haven't you thought about?
I don't know. It's pretty
I don't
much,
know, but if anybody can think of anything he hasn't thought about, let him know. He's obviously open to ideas.
No. Actually, if you don't mind, if I talk about if ever you guys Facebook.
Yes.
I don't know if you.
Oh,
ever
Facebook,
followed
of course,
our
yes.
page there.
Yes, you have a page on Facebook?
Yeah, we actually just started like 6 months ago, and actually,
Really?
sorry if I just.
Yeah.
This is why like people will recognize this little guy here. That's our little like we always do posts with our little emoji guy here.
Oh,
So
okay.
and that's why it's just creating a lot of interest. So what we do is we do a lot of draws
Yeah.
on Facebook, and then we try to do a lot of sales, and just to create, because Facebook basically now is like your new word of mouth, right? You just
Absolutely.
you build a little community on there. So we love it, and I do a lot of publicity on Facebook now, just because you can interact with people on there also. And then I see people coming in and like, oh hey, I saw you. You
Yeah.
know, so anyways, if ever you guys want to follow, it's on Lamour Home Hardware.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
and, we're having a lot of fun with that. And actually, Barb also, she posts a lot of her stuff once in a while here. And like we were talking about, that's how
Yeah.
she got a little bit of business and customers coming in and then seeing what she had. And then she could actually, respond by social media, right? So and it's something new that
Oh,
we're
that's
trying. And we're going to be even better this year. Got a lot of ideas coming up.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell them because they're all
Okay.
surprises, but
We have
we'll
to
see.
watch what's on Facebook.
yeah.
Become friends
yeah,
on
you'll see.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And that's just this store that's doing that, or all of the home hardware
It's just
doing
this
that?
store. We're all independent stores.
Yeah.
So this is just for our location. We're doing just for the Rockland and surrounding areas.
See what happens
so
when you
for
bring
us.
the young guys in? They bring in all this new
Well,
technology, all this
exactly,
new way of doing
you know,
things.
And I mean, everybody's on it these days. Like everybody follows
Oh.
the social media, and Facebook is still the most popular platform out there, right?
Well,
So
for good reason. It's very effective.
yeah.
So you're not going to start tweeting with all kinds of things? though,
No,
right?
not
Good,
there
okay.
yet. Facebook
All right.
is still
Yeah,
it's still our
it's
popular.
amazing how much it can take over your time. All of these,
Oh,
all this
it does.
technology. It does.
It does, yeah.
All right. So you have draws, and you're going to have all kinds of other specials, things, and
Yeah.
things to attract us that you don't want to talk about.
Well, we'll do.
Okay, we won't talk about them.
We'll do videos. I want to do a lot of information videos. That's one thing
Oh.
I'll say. I like information videos. Let's say on a paint, if like a difference between an actual regular paint and a paint that's paint and primer. Well, what's the difference? A lot of people think you actually take a paint and you put a primer in it. They think that's what it is, but it's not. You know. So, anyways, it's
Oh,
stuff like that, just
wonderful.
to give it actual information, but on topics that are actually relevant, that are popular, that come up a lot.
Okay.
Right within our store. Right, so I get these questions when they come up, just to explain to people, just to give them a little bit of information.
Okay.
So that's one thing we want to do, just
All
little
right.
clips here and there.
All right. Well, we have a crew here that's very handy with doing things like that. So
Oh yeah, well,
be sure to get in touch with your community TV
of course,
station.
of course, of course.
Well, this is it, folks. This is how it works in a community. The best of what these small communities are all about. Our Clarence Rockland is what, 23,000 people, and Rockland itself, I don't know, 9,000. No, it must be more than that, obviously.
12, 13-ish
12,
here, yeah.
13. And it always feels so good when you feel like you're part of a family, a community.
Exactly, that's what it is.
So I'm so glad that we were able to have this interview so that people can get to know more about you. Not the old timers, because they already know, but the new people who are coming in.
Yeah.
Because you're always up there in your office and nobody gets to see you, but now they got to see you.
Oh yeah, but no, I'm on the floor in there, and we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anything we ask you, obviously you know the answer
Oh, of
to,
course.
because you've been
well,
doing this
anything.
forever.
I'll try to. We'll try to have the answer.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
if I don't have it, I'll find it. We always find it.
All right. Well, we're all going to check out your Facebook page to make
Okay,
sure
yeah,
that we don't
great,
miss
thank
out on
you.
any wonderful specials and things that you're coming up with. And congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.